Are low interest rates impacting on your investment returns? It's time to rethink. Rethink Investing creates wealth for clients through the strategic purchase of positively geared, high cash flow commercial property. Industrial properties, retail assets, or office spaces can be a smart investment option that produces significant and long-term return on investment. Rethink your investment options and look to commercial property. Learn more at rethinkinvesting.com.au. Rethink Investing, Australia's #1 commercial buyers agency.
Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
Hi, good everyone. How you going? Phil Tarrant here. Thanks for joining us on the Smart Property Investment Show today. It's a great privilege for me to be able to record these podcasts. Sometimes pinch myself just at the breadth and depth of just how passionate a lot of Australia's property investors are, how they're going about taking control of their financial future through investing in property. Everyone has a very different story. Property investors come in all shapes and sizes, and some with a certain attitude towards property investment, and that makes them very successful. Others have an attitude or a strategy towards property investment, which makes them less than successful. And what you do hear a lot in property investment are the stories where things go wrong. You also hear all the big success stories, but there's a lot of challenges, a lot of issues that people make. And a big part of what we do on the Smart Property Investment Show is to try and share the journey of property investors right across the nation so you can be more informed and a smarter property investor. To get back to smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. And just on that note, there is heaps of investor stories right across smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. Go and check them out, not just the podcast itself, but there's heaps of articles and features and all that sort of stuff. So go and have a look at them. Any questions at all, you can contact us through the website. And just while you're there, or wherever you're listening to this particular podcast, a big favor for me, if you don't mind, if you can keep those reviews coming on iTunes or wherever you actually listen to this podcast. The team here get a real kick out of it to know that what we are doing is resonating with our community. And to give you some sense, there's 120,000 plus downloads of the Smart Property Investment Show every single month. So it gives you some sense to how many people are listening in. But if you are a guest, do not be scared. It's pretty easy to come on. And if you want to do that, editor of Smart Property Investment, come and have a chat about what you're doing. In today's discussion is going to be very much like that. Property investors, how they're getting through life and creating wealth through property. In the studio, virtual studio with me today, Ryan and Zita Atkins. We're going to chat things all through on their portfolio, their journey, how they're budgeting, their investment strategy, and what they're going to do with it. Ryan, Zita, how you going? You well?
Yeah, cheers, thanks. Yeah.
So we're in lockdown at the moment. No one knows now through Zoom where someone's based. Yourselves, are you in Sydney? Are you in Melbourne? Where's home for you?
We're in Sydney, right near the airport, in a suburb called Botany.
Okay, so I know Botany. I've travelled there a lot on the way to there. It's a good pub in Botany, which is all right. Which side of Southern Cross Drive are you, if you're going towards the airport? Are you on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Are you in the Zetland area or on the other side on the Botany, sort of the old Botany?
We're talking proper Botany, so pretty much just south of La Perouse in the bay. All
right. That's a good location. And so you live there right now. Is that a principal place of residence you own, or are you renting there?
No, we're going through the rental route just because of the way things have worked out. We found a place that was quite cheap to rent, and we're using this as an advantage to at least turn things around.
Okay. And to help sort of shape the conversation today, Ryan, can you give us some sense of your portfolio right now? And that'll probably shape some of the things we do chat about. How big is it? What does it consist of?
There's a one-bedroom unit in Kingsford, which is right near the Union, New South Wales. We have a dual occupancy consisting of a one-bedroom unit and a three-bedroom unit up in Redbank in southeast Queensland. That's around near Ipswich. And under self-managed super, we have a two-bedroom unit in Brunswick, which we've just closed out.
Okay. And how long have you been investing for, your first property?
Well, the first property, we only started renting it out about August last year because we were living in it before. I did the classic Australian thing of saving up, working hard, buying it. I bought it at the right time because it was as we were coming out of the last financial crisis. Basically, I was there by myself living the bachelor life for about 5 years. Then I met Zita and we were there for another 4 years before realising we're just not getting anywhere with saving for a bigger place, like to do something more. And we thought, we'll try the rent vesting place. And we found a nice cheap place in Botany, which has also been helpful during lockdown because I'm working from home. I've now got the space to do it. And yet, here we are. renting and turning everything around.
Yeah, and we'll get into the catalyst for that. But before we go there, Ryan, how would you rate yourself so far? How would you score yourself so far as a property investor if the objective is, I guess, long-term wealth creation? Have you done it well, do you reckon?
We've made mistakes. I'd say we're on the right track now. The thing we realised pretty early on, we tried doing a bit ourselves to work out what to do and all that, realising what we could borrow, one of the catalysts of trying to actually rent instead of buy a home to live in. We also we're just sort of like, what are we doing wrong? All right, let's go see what people who are doing this right are actually doing, and we go from there, pretty much.
Yeah, and this journey. How long have you guys been together, Zita? What's the backstory? How did you run into this bloke? Was it somewhere I met my wife in a pub, so but who knows? What's the backstory between you two?
Well, these days everybody meet through technology because nobody socializes as much.
That's true. We're all locked up.
Yeah. So we met through social media, and then we met up and we had a date, and it was all right. Well, we didn't know if we we're going to end up together, but we just started going out, and I was in a bit of situation, so I moved in faster than I should have. So that, I think that was the main reason why our relationship grew to another level and so fast. And then we started planning for a wedding and going overseas, meeting my family, and everything just started.
There's nothing wrong with an accelerated relationship. When you know something's good, you got to hold on with both hands and go for a bit. But Zita, I detect an accent. Where's home originally for you?
So I'm from Eastern Europe. I'm from Lithuania.
And my geography is pretty good, but for our listeners that don't know where Lithuania is.
So it's in between Poland and Belarus, and it's surrounded by Baltic Sea. So there's 3 countries, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. They're all surrounded by Baltic Sea.
Yeah, so for those that aren't familiar where the Baltic Sea is, so if you just think of where Russia is and just go left, that's where you'll find Lithuania, that little bit of Europe, which is a really nice place. What's Zita, how are you finding the Australian attitude towards property investment compared to culturally, what you're brought up in Lithuania? Is it normal to take on debt and buy investment property in Lithuania?
Well, so when I was growing up, my family didn't have any mortgages. I didn't grow up in Soviet Union, but when I was born, then the Soviet Union just fell apart. But my family, my mom and dad, they got together and got married in Soviet Union. So then they were giving properties left, right, and center. So they didn't have to actually pay for it.
Oh, you get a free property. Sounds all right.
Yeah, they were just giving apartments and anything. As long as you're working and you're just a decent person, that's all good. So they had a bit of property. They got a little bit of property, then they bought a little bit of property, and it's all worked out. So they didn't have any mortgages. But as the time grew, my mom didn't want to live anymore in apartments. So we used to have this summer house. So she built out of the summer house, she built a house, and we were living in, that's where my family lives at the moment. And also she inherited some property as well as my dad inherited some property. So now she lives in the village away from the little town where I grew up. So that's because she always loved village life. So she lives in the village and my sister lives in the house.
Mm. And what's your relationship like with debt today, considering you must have a number of mortgages? Are you okay owing the bank money? How have you sort of conceptualized or crystallized that debt to yourself? I imagine it's to do with what we can do as a result of this. What's the goals and ambitions for you and also Ryan investing in property?
So, well, I had to educate myself. I read a lot of Robert Kiyosaki just to understand how people do it through the property. And I think he's one of the classic examples who just explains how people invest and how people grow their wealth through investing in the property. But, well, our main goal in the beginning was just to collect some equity so we can eventually buy our dream house. But now we don't even know when and where we're going to buy a house. So we're just happy renting and investing.
That's nice. And how are you, Ryan, going about sort of shaping your strategy around investing in property? Do you have an end goal that you want to achieve at some point? Most people sort of want to replace their income when they retire with money generated through property. Has that been a guiding light for you guys in shaping your strategy?
So at the moment, what we're aiming with our personal investments, we want to collect equity and then see if we will buy a house or we will continue getting more properties. And with retirement, we already have one property under self-managed super, and we're going to buy more and more so we don't have to worry about retirement. We just can live out of our super.
Okay. And Ryan, is the one property you have in your self-managed super fund, is the plan to invest or buy more inside that super fund? Is that the objective?
Yeah, pretty much, because the way we've set it up, we're still paying into our old super funds just so that we don't have everything in one basket at least. But in short, the strategy in general is just whenever it comes up that we can actually pull the trigger on another property under the self-managed super, just go for it. Because I've actually been at my job for so long, and since 2006, it's been about 15% pay into your super. So they've been giving me extra. So before everything turned, and I was lucky enough to see what was coming and at least secure a large chunk of it, I had a significant amount, a lot more than I realised in there. So, yeah, it's just pretty much the moment it comes up, we're just going to pull the trigger and go for it. We're not like, if we make a mistake in that and we have to sell something or we lose some money somewhere, it's superannuation at least. So we can definitely afford to make mistakes in that one. And the way we're doing all the other, like our other properties, which would be considered, I guess, say regular income, we're basically going to keep the same strategy all the way through as well. So we've still got that to fall back on as well.
Well, I hope you don't make too many mistakes investing in your self-managed super fund. When we come back, we'll have a bit of chat about that strategy and why super. Back in a moment.
Whether you're an avid property investor or about to buy your first property, why do it alone when you could partner with Australia's best buyer's agent? Director of Pure Property Investment, Property Investment Professionals of Australia board member and REB Buyer's Agent of the Year, Paul Glossop, can take your portfolio to the next level. Get in touch today to discuss your investment goals. Get one-on-one insight from Paul Glossop. And for the first 100 people, this service is completely free. Head to purepropertyinvestment.com today to schedule your consult with Paul Glossop directly.
Welcome back, everyone. Phil Tarrant, Smart Property Investment Show with Ryan and Zita Atkins. Now, Ryan, you said that's very nice of your employer to pay 15% into super rather than the 9.5%. What sort of work do you do, mate?
Started out as an apprentice Sparky with, at the time, they were called Energy Australia. Did my apprenticeship, went through all different sections of the company and ended up in one of their engineering offices. And I've been there since the end of 2009, basically. And technically, officially, my job title, I guess you could say, would be Associate Engineer Electrical Design. Our job title has changed about 6 times in 5 years for whatever reason, as it is with upper manglement at times. But yeah, and basically I've just been there, and but like, it would be nice to replace my wage as well, I guess. But by the same token, I do need to find something else to do before, like if I were ever to leave, because I'd just go crazy not doing anything.
And that 15%, is that a perk that everyone gets, or is that specific to some parts of the business?
No, it's part of our award agreement. I think it could actually have dropped slightly at the moment down to about 12%, but it's still, like on our pay slips, it appears as 2 separate payments, your standard 9.5% and then the extra according to our award.
Okay. Well, that's really good. And you said it was a surprise to work out how much you had in your super. How much was in your super fund before you actually thought about using that money or taking it out of a retail or industry fund and putting it in a super fund? What was the process for you to do that? Did you get any advice or help from anyone?
Actually, it's hard to say because, like, as it was when we're out looking for help to do everything, and like, so with Infinity, when we first sat down to hear effectively their sales pitch and that, they also had other people come in that they work with, and there was someone there who does self-managed super, Bryce, and he explained what it is and that, and we're all like, oh, yeah, that'd be something interesting. And then, but like, we just thought, well, we'll sort out the one that matters most, actually, the investments here and now, the ones that are going to make us money in the short term. And so that's what we focused on. And then, like, as it was, settlement on the place at Red Bank was the day before our wedding as well. So the week before that, we were both doing like close to 12-hour days to organise the wedding and make sure everything was set up and that. And so then that was done. Lockdown happened, all that. And then as things started opening up, got a completely random call from one of the guys at Infinity, Louis Carmargo. We also know him through a few other things. And he gave us a quick call to see how I was doing that. And he goes, "Oh, do you want to come down to Melbourne?" I'm like, "We're not in a position to buy anything." He's like, "Oh, no, you are, but it's a self-managed super." And I thought, "Oh, yeah, all right, we'll come down and have a look." 2 hours later, Zita came home and we talked about it. And within 3 days, we were calling up Bryce going, like, almost in a bit of a panic, trying to get everything set up as quick as possible and all that. And yeah, it's just been going and going and going. And about 5 minutes ago, when you were talking to Zita just before as well, I got a text message through saying that there's one more paper actually for us to sign on settlement at Brunswick. So we're nearly there, of all things.
Okay. So the properties you got then, so there's the original property that you purchased in Sydney. Sorry, which suburb was that again?
Kingsford, right near the Union, New South Wales.
Okay. And what sort of, I know our listeners like to know the specifics. So what was that property? Was that a 2-bedroom unit, was it?
No, just a single-bedder unit.
Yeah.
Because, mind you, at the time, my mindset was, like, I did want to move out of home, obviously. And my mindset was, well, I can afford to buy a place, so I might as well. The information I had at the time, like, it wasn't wrong. And I don't feel like it is upsetting what I could have done. But by the same token, I wouldn't be in the position I am now if I didn't actually do that as well. So saved up. I was lucky enough to get, it wasn't much. I did get a little bit of help from mum and dad, and I was just able to secure a loan that would actually get me the place. And about the time it was as prices started to rise again after the 2008 financial crisis. And I had 5 years of single bachelorhood in my pad, as they say.
Baked beans and Maggi noodles and blown all your money on beer, no doubt.
Well, actually, no, because there was a pizza place across the road that did $15 medium pizzas, so that was good on a drunken night.
Yeah,
and I had a Dan Murphy's next door, and on the other side of the road there was another bottle-o that did growlers and boutique beers.
Well, mate, living a dream. It's great. And how much did you pay for that apartment originally, way back when?
$495,000 in September 2010.
Okay, and was it a new build or an existing property?
It was 8 months old when I bought it.
Okay.
And the guy that was in it was a monk from,
okay.
If any of your listeners are down in Wollongong, the Nantien Temple down their way.
On the way down south to Kiama on the left.
Yeah. He was a member of them, and it wasn't an auction. It was just a for sale, and I was actually with my dad. And we're just heading to check another place in Kensington, the next suburb north of Kingsford. And we just saw that one through dumb luck, called them up, decided, we'll go have a look. And that was there. And the guy that had it as well, practically was brand new because he didn't even have a TV. He had one lounge, one bed and one table. And it was only there for about 2 days a week.
Okay.
So
didn't have to do too much to move out then.
No. Well, actually, he pretty much left me everything as well that he had in there. He just took his photos with him.
That's handy. Imagine it had good, I don't know if Zen's the right word for it, but, it would have been a nice, peaceful place, no doubt. Good juju.
Yeah, he was actually there when we did the inspection, which I was surprised at, but he was big on karma. Yeah. So he's happy to, he knows, I do good, I'll get it back.
So you reckon you got a good price then? He didn't rip you off, he gave you a good price.
No, because
that's bad karma.
Because I think about 3 months later, there was a one-bedder below me that went for sale, and it ended up going for auction at about $550,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good way to buy off a Buddhist. Then you're probably not overpaying on it. But what do you think it's worth today? If you got a value, you must have got a value, no doubt, at some point to extract some equity out of it.
Yeah.
I think 640 or Well, when it was highest peak of the property, I think it was close to 700, but at the moment it's lower to 650, 640, something like that.
Okay. So that was the first property. Then you said the next property was in Redbank Plains. Is that right? Up in Brizzy?
Yeah, it's about, 2 hours west?
Yeah, west of Ipswich way, sort of Queensland. So that's a relatively new purchase. When did you get that? How much did you pay?
The land itself was about 120, and I think in total, with the way we've got the loan set up, I think it could be around 450 off the top of my head.
Okay, and this is a dual occupancy property, so it's like a house, and it's got a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment that's connected with it. Is that pretty much how it is?
Yeah, so it's a 3-bedder and a 1-bedder.
Okay, and why'd you go that particular route in an asset? So buying a block of land, building your own property, and a dual key as well. What's the basis of that strategy?
Like one of the things that attracted me to that was that it was something I never even thought of. Queensland as well, you only paid stamp duty on the land itself. And it was basically, I thought, why not? Give it a try. It's something I'd never considered. A lot of people are doing it. And also, it's 2 streams of income, which makes the loan repayments a lot more easier.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty good. So both places are rented at the moment. Have you had any sort of gaps between one not being filled? Zita, how's that worked?
Everything has been filled.
Sorry, this is actually about Brunswick.
Look at that. Here we go. It's live in action on the Smart Property Investment Show. Deals being done as we speak. It's good to see you prioritise a phone call over chatting to me because property comes first. How have you found, Zita, the idea of a dual income property? Does it give you some comfort when it comes to the mortgage and repaying it?
So actually what happened, Ryan had his buck, so he couldn't go on a property tour. So I went alone because that was the first property tour ever. So I said to Ryan, it doesn't matter. I will go and I will check all the properties. So we got all the property introduction. We have seen lots of properties, and we went to see showrooms, and we saw how it looks just built, and we saw how it looks when people already moved in and living there. It's kind of affordable lifestyle for people, if you know what I mean. It's very modest living. You live in not an apartment, you have your backyard, but you also not in the metro area. So I felt like it was really affordable way to live for people, and I felt like people would live there for that specific reason.
And Ryan, you didn't have any hesitations over doing a buy land and build versus buying an established property? Why did you choose one over the other?
Well, not to get too far ahead in the interview or anything, but so with the Infinity Group and that, we got the chance to actually talk with Graham Home himself, and in the main sales class pitch and all that, we started going through numbers, and I could see the mistakes I'd made. Like, for me, there wasn't too much new information, but it was a kick up the backside I needed. It was like, you've done this in one way or another before. Why have you stopped? And the thing was, he read me like a tea. So when we actually got the chance to talk to each other, like just one-on-one with him, he goes, all right, I know exactly what you like because you're an engineer. Here's all the numbers. We're going through this one by one. And I was like, yep, beautiful. Let's do it all this way. And from a pure number perspective, I was very happy with it. Because as far as I'm concerned, numbers don't lie, but there's no emotion in numbers. I could see exactly what it was. I checked it over myself as well, and I'm like, yep, beautiful. And when I bought Kingsford, what also drew me to that was that I wasn't buying off the plan because this was something I wanted to live in. It meant I could move in sooner. I could actually see the completed product. And at the time as well, there were a few problems around the area where over in Kingsford, where a lot of builders were just doing very poor work. But this one was actually very good work. So yeah, it was just, once again, it was like, let's give it a try.
And you mentioned just on the phone there, you just got a call for this Brunswick property. So that's the one inside your self-managed super fund. Is that correct that you're just settling now? So what's the status? Give us a live status.
So pretty much, as it said in text messages, funds are approved. Basically, they're going to put the request for funds through to Bryce and his group that are managing it for us. And then they're going to give me a call either today or tomorrow to say, and I just have to say, yes, release the funds, at which point the funds will be released and it's all settled by Friday. That's the current target.
Very cool. Interesting. Well, it must be exciting to get that one set. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep having a chat with Ryan and Zita back in a moment.
Are low interest rates impacting on your investment returns? It's time to rethink. Rethink Investing creates wealth for clients through the strategic purchase of positively geared, high cash flow commercial property. Industrial properties, retail assets, or office spaces can be a smart investment option that produces significant and long-term return on investment. Rethink your investment options and look to commercial property. Learn more at rethinkinvesting.com.au. Rethink Investing, Australia's #1 commercial buyers agency.
Welcome back, everyone. Phil Tarrant, host of the Smart Property Investment Show with Ryan and Zita. Atkins. Guys, so you're just about to settle on this new property in your self-managed super fund, which is all very exciting. And when you go to the sort of pathway and look at expanding that portfolio even further, how are you going about now that you've got this set in your self-managed super fund and investing outside of your super fund? How are you going about sort of managing your personal finances, making sure that you can keep up your the rental of the current property you're in, but no doubt building a nest egg for the future? Who's in charge of household finances there in Atkins' household? How does that work?
Well, with the way Zita's work is, she can't always answer the phone and that, so I've sort of taken over a lot of that. But we've got ourselves a budget. Like, we knew how to budget before, but we're budgeting probably a lot better because we're able to see the targets, we're able to know what we're aiming for now. We've got an account for everything we need week to week. And then we've set up all our offsets properly, and yeah, we're going from there pretty much.
And every month, our personal banker sends us email to show us how much money we saved on interest this specific month, so we can see our spending and we see how we go, if we overspend or if we were good. Like, we can manage that.
And is the goal to try and save as much money as possible, and no savings, just go sit in an offset, Ryan, until you're ready to buy again? Is that just building up a war chest? Is that the idea?
Well, our strategy is basically so the current loan that's being offset, it's our largest loan, which is the one from Kingsford. With what I'd paid off over the years, I think it was about $399,000 was when we refinanced, and pretty much like all of our offset accounts point towards that loan at the moment. We're able to, and so even with that weekly budget, we've still got that money offsetting the interest. And basically the moment that main, like of the two accounts, that main account, once it gets to the same level of what's left on the Kingsford loan, it's pretty much set up another account, dump all that money in there, and yeah, so those two are even. That's now offsetting Kingsford only, and we move on to the Red Bank loan.
And when do you think you'll buy again?
Before everything happened, we were probably hoping to, like, we were looking at, and we're thinking around maybe every 12 months we would have been able to do something, maybe 18 months at most. But fortunately, with the way things have changed, that may have blown out a little bit more. We could still be on track. We just haven't had the chance to look at it because the past couple of months we've been dealing with the self-managed super. So, yeah, whenever it comes up, we'll be able to go do it.
And have you, now that you've got a focused budget, and it sounds like you're being held accountable to the framework that you set to budget with someone else, and that's not a bad philosophy if you do struggle budgeting, if you need someone looking over your shoulder to make sure you're doing it right. Are you sort of having to compromise your lifestyle at all? Are you sort of drinking Tui's New instead of craft beer, Ryan? Do you feel like you're giving up a lot, Zita, for keeping to your budget plans?
Well, in the beginning, it was real struggle. It was really, really hard because although we struggled before, although we did have a budget before, but it was nothing quite like the current budget. Current budget, we just have the specific amount of money and we can't sort of spend over it unless it's something that, not planned, like some kind of emergency or something that we budgeted and we said that it will be like from the big account, from our mainstream of money. So like if it's presents and stuff like that we don't normally budget for that. But if it's like groceries, we obviously budget. So I had to cut back on like lots of things like clothing and entertainment and anything and everything I can think of. So it was very, very difficult in the beginning, but now we are getting better every time because we just find the ways how we can do it, and also living more modest life than just overspending and buying whatever we can see and like.
And who's the worst at straying off the budget out of you two? Or you keep each other accountable? Right now, Ryan's pointing to Zita. But it's okay. Like, having a budget, budget's like a diet, right? It gives you a framework for goal setting. And, if you're on a diet and one night you eat a couple of peaches or a packet of chocolate biscuits, it doesn't mean it's all over. You're just a bit of a blip and you can get back onto it straight away. So no doubt the same with the budget. How do you guys, if you have fallen off the wagon, so to say, are you straight back onto it, recognizing that you've let the budget down a little bit, Zita?
Yeah, well, if I overspend 1 week, then next week I'm just living on a low budget. Like I don't have as much money for the next week. But because we have so many, we met so many people through Infinity who are doing the same thing, so we can see how they're going about it and learn from each other. Because, everybody has different kind of goals through this investment plan. And it's just interesting to see how it works in a different kind of setup.
That's good. And I'm just going to report also, Ryan's just taken another call, no doubt, around getting his super fund settled. Any plans to get home at all soon, Zita? You must be stuck in Australia. No chance for Lithuania for Christmas, no doubt.
Well, that's what it is. We're going to have big holiday this year, 3 weeks, and we can't go anywhere. So, that's kind of a problem. Because normally Ryan doesn't have a holiday during the Christmas, and I have time off every Christmas for 3 weeks because my workplace closes. So this year we're just stuck in Australia.
Well, you can spend all your time not spending money and keep adding to your budget. And as you go down this journey, Ryan and Zita are investing in property. Make sure you keep connected. Let us know how you're going. You've got your hands full right now with this new property in your self-managed super fund. But when you're ready to buy again, come and have a chat with us. We'd really enjoy it.
All right. Cheers. And that was just the managers then saying we're about to send you the documents. Please sign them and we'll be able to settle by even tomorrow with any luck.
Well, we need to get off, so you got to get off the phone and the Zoom and start processing paperwork. But thanks, guys. Good luck with it all, and it was really nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Nice one to see you. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Another very different story of property investors. And if you tuned in over the last couple of weeks, you would have seen just the diversity we have. Farmers in the middle of New South Wales, people in lockdown in Melbourne, and now Ryan and Zita in Botany. Remember, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, full of investor stories. If you're not yet subscribing to our daily morning newsletter, so the first to know what's happening in property right across the nation, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au/subscribe. Social media is Smart Property HQ. Find us there, track us down, let us know what's going on. We'll see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.
Whether you're an avid property investor or about to buy your first property, why do it alone when you could partner with Australia's best buyer's agent? Director of Pure Property Investment, Property Investment Professionals of Australia board member and REB Buyer's Agent of the Year, Paul Glossop, can take your portfolio to the next level. Get in touch today to discuss your investment goals. Get one-on-one insight from Paul Glossop. And for the first 100 people, this service is completely free. Head to purepropertyinvestment.com today to schedule your consult with Paul Glossop directly.